Let's talk about Will Smith and Jada. So what happened a few days ago? I said that guy is probably
making things up.
You know,
you said that, and I said, wait,
because
I don't think so.
he has mental health issues.
Mhm.
We know that, and I figured, well, that can be from simple as hunger, right, to all the way to extreme situation where people are walking naked on the street. Right? Mental issues can go anywhere from a simple momentary anger to, but she said, well, you never know, anything can happen. I kind of know that.
I know anything can happen.
But for some reason, I felt like, it doesn't sound believable enough because, God forbid, because of the human? Mental issue.
No, not her.
Yeah, people are people. Because of the dude that was narrating this story, he has mental issues, right? Which shouldn't be a stigma. I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation. They can.
So you didn't believe him because of the mental problems?
I didn't believe him. So, but just a few minutes before we came on, good evening, Bratike. Right?
Hey, Bratike.
Just a few minutes before we came on, it's right there. You can watch it on Facebook. Will Smith and Jada talking about it. Yes, she was involved. She used her mouth to say she was involved with this dude, but they were broken up.
Well, she was separated from Will.
They were separated from each other.
House. Yes,
right. Yes. And this happened so long ago, meaning maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago.
4.5 years ago.
4.5 years ago. Right. So that's when it happened. All right. So there are a couple of things I want to talk about.
Well, people said that Will Smith gave her. Oh, he said August.
He claimed he got permission to mess with Jada from Will Smith. That part definitely was not believable, and according to them, no, that never happened. Right, but I guess maybe he knew of their situation, and that's what he's trying to say.
And
he was
cool,
around,
like he's cool
and they're
with
cool,
it.
right?
Yeah.
But the idea of they had to sit down, that's a little weird. Okay, so now they had. So there you have it. So you may be hearing that for the first time. It's on Facebook, on their Facebook Watch show called The Red Table. But what's your take on this? Because I need to settle my brain around that. Again, that's a big deal because they are such, like, everybody look up to them. People have been watching them for like a year or so, consistently talking about mental health stuff, talking about happiness. They're doing this Red Table talk where they talk about all those kind of stuff, right? And some people were definitely in doubt.
Why?
No, in doubt about if they've already came out a long time ago and said they had issues.
Yeah, they're human beings.
That wasn't the doubt. That wasn't the doubt. The doubt is particularly this boy. That's the doubt.
I don't know why I'm not so. I'm not so like shaken or surprised by it. When if a woman is not, getting her needs met.
Sorry to cut you out, baby. Anna says open marriage. No, they don't have open marriage. No, that part, it didn't make any sense that they will have open marriage to me. Maybe that's where the conflict was coming for me. They open marriage doesn't work. Their vibe doesn't come off as open marriage.
Well,
maybe before in recent times.
I think Will just kind of made it very clear to
He's
us
been clear
that it's not an open marriage.
Yeah, he made that clear.
He doesn't want that to happen.
Like, no, I need that to be. He was clear on that. And to me, like, I go by people's vibe, and I'm often right when it comes to vibes. I could be wrong, but often when it comes to vibes over time, I could be right. Now, I didn't pay attention to them for years.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense that they were going through stuff. It makes sense that he's a successful guy who is narcissistic and wanted to control his wife. All that stuff makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But in recent times, like it's in this last 1 year, it didn't, like the whole August Alsina thing. I think I mixed it together with this last 1 year, and that's why it wasn't believable. But if you think about it, if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, it's making a little bit better sense, right? Yeah. But again, the fact that it's also mental issues that he has, that also didn't make it believable for me. But these things happen. These things happen, and it can happen to anybody. And it's not about how holy you are. It's not about how righteous you are. It's not about your background. We're talking mental issues. We're talking about people feeling free. We're talking about love. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about relationships. It takes a toll on people. That's just the reality of life. And she said, at that time, she just wanted to be happy. She had not been happy for a long time. These are very, very common issues. In fact, the most common ones are the ones that are not talking. They're the ones that are not talking, right? So, yeah, I want to hear what you have to say, babe, because...
Well, I feel like Will also stated that he couldn't stand that at that point in time. So keep in mind, these are two people going through it, okay?
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were doing wrong. They didn't know what was making them not happy.
Yeah.
And they chose to separate at that time. Now, when people separate, do they go out to the world and say, hi, we're separated? They don't do that. So it's so natural that, we wouldn't know that they were separated at that time.
Right.
But when August came out and talked about this all his truth, because he's so hurt, basically because he's no longer with Jada, right?
Yeah.
And it was the one that broke it up with Jada, by the way. And I'm thinking this is because she decided to move back together with Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
They tried to work things out.
Yeah.
And he couldn't handle that. Now he was in a relationship with someone that wasn't available for him.
Yep.
And he got shock. He got the shock of his life.
Yeah.
And these things happen. I'm just so I don't want to say I'm happy, but this is a good example for people to know that no one is immune to these things.
Yeah.
When you neglect your spouse, when you're not there for each other, when you're not deliberate about taking care of each other's needs.
Yes. Mentally, emotionally.
I don't care who you are. It will happen to you because most of us, and I will use me as an example, I want to be happy. If I'm not getting happiness from my spouse, I might go out and seek it from another place.
And guess what's going to happen?
And that might be destructive for me.
Well, let's do that. You're right, but maybe not destructive. What's going to happen first is that you will not find happiness from other place because definitely. It doesn't come from other people.
You're right about that. But we're always trying to look for that feel-good moment.
Yes.
And look and listen to what Jada said in that aspect too. She just wanted to feel good. She didn't care what it was. Like in our own mind, that instead of using cocaine, it's probably like, saving somebody else, helping somebody else.
Yeah.
Because she claimed she was helping this guy, right? She was helping him, actually helping him.
Yeah.
But then she fell in a relationship with him, which is easy for most people.
When you are mentally, no, let me say mentally, okay? The only person with the mental health issues is August Alsina, and it looks like he's seeking help, which is a good thing. Emotionally, I want to talk about. Emotionally, particularly when you're engaged, Brother Tunde, my bros of life. Welcome, bros. All right, so,
Hi, Delina.
Yeah, that's Yinka.
Okay.
Right? I think so. But, so let's talk about it real quick. I want to talk about emotion, the emotional energy that it takes to nurture a relationship. And I like saying relationship for the same reason why these guys, they came out in the last 1 year. They say, they are now life partners. They call themselves life partners and stuff like that. And people try to use that to discredit them by saying they're not really married. They're in open marriage. I'm like,
they're
I don't
swingers.
go by. They're swingers. I don't go by that. I just go by vibes. It takes a lot of energy to be in a swinger type of relationship. There's a lot of energy that goes into that. And you can tell on people's face when they're not connected like that. You can tell on how they interact. And what I've seen in the last 1 year, just watching their show on the Red Table Talk and Will Smith vibe, it doesn't make any sense. But it makes absolute sense that for them to have the kind of situation they have, any marriage that any relationship that has the kind of situation that they have, that you admire, they've gone through the fire. Okay,
yes,
diamonds only come from that kind of pressure. You can't have what you call a goals type of relationship, marriage goals, unless you are tested. Life will test you. That's why I wanted to point it out to people. Like if you're going through a test or anything like that, the other side of it is good. And I'm not saying it must be you have to be with that person. That's not what I'm saying. But if you take control of your emotional, how do I call it? Right? Your emotions. If you take control of your emotions anyway, your life, your relationship with yourself, that's where it starts from. If you take control of that, it looks like relationship goal on the other side. Okay, that's what it would look like, either with that same person or with another person. But if you run away from your situationship because you think happiness comes from other people, you will regret it. Okay, and let's look at this example. And I want to round up the Will Smith and Jada here. Honestly, they deserve a whole episode. But I wanted to get into the, honestly, I'm tempted to just talk about them right now because there's a lot in it, right? The fact that she left and she just wanted to be happy, right?
That's a real thing, man.
I want to say this, that the only way that she would know that her happiness belonged with Will Smith is she had to go through that process. She had to go through that situation with August Alsina.
It had to happen.
It had to happen. That's because basically what it does is it gives you a frame of reference, right? You can measure one thing against the other.
Absolutely.
I know it's hard. It's terrible to say it that way, but that's just the reality of how we are as human beings.
Yeah.
When you kind of like
you
measure one against
it.
You appreciate what you have because you've experienced something that's like, I need to work on my shit.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
It does.
So the only issue with this is that I can't read your comments. I'm okay. I could read it. I could read it a little bit to the side. Okay. All right. Perfect.
That is so weird.
All right. Yeah. So I think you can see us better now, right? So now please talk about open relationship. Is that a real form of love relationship? Can it be considered love? For me, let me pose that so people can see that question. For me, the whole idea of open relationship, just like you were saying a few days ago, nothing is impossible. With God, all things are possible, Bratunde. Right?
That's true.
Right? But here's the thing. We're human beings and we have jealousy, we have emotions, we are territorial, like we want it to be all mine. We're narcissistic, all of us, to a certain level, right? And for an average human being can't handle that, okay? And even when you go back in the days when people were marrying multiple wives, there was always a favorite. There was always Olorogun. How do you say that in English? There's always polygamous like issues, like fights, like consistent fight and unrest in the home and stuff like that. And if anybody comes and says, "Oh, our parents did that and they did that
successfully,"
they're lying. There's something called Olorogun. If you have, go Google Olorogun, right? I don't know if you find something, but it's not fun. Okay, it's not fun. It comes with war. Okay, it comes with war. There's a real issues that comes up when you have to share that level of energy. There's a passionate energy that comes with relationships and marriages and stuff like that. And it's the whole idea of open relationship. I didn't think Will Smith and Jada were doing that. I don't think so. I didn't think that. I think they could have broken up. I think they could have been in a very bad place where they're rich. They don't have to deal with that kind of. If they're not happy, they don't have to deal with that. They can move on. And we're not the one to really come against that. If that's the case, sometimes it's just that toxic, and you have to at least temporarily, go your separate ways. So that's what we have to say about that. This is getting sweeter. Maybe we'll get to Mary Bunka. Maybe we won't get to it. But let me just make sure that I'm not missing any question. What do you think about open relationship, babe?
I'm sorry, it's just not for me. It takes too much energy, like you said. Like, I really don't believe in open relationship. Can you be with someone without emotions being attached? I don't believe in that, because like you said, we're human beings, we're territorial. I know I'm territorial. I'm not gonna be in a relationship where I get to put my face to the side. You can sleep wherever you want. No. I mean, it has to be that we're separated or we've decided we're moving on. That's the only way that could happen. But open relationship is not for me. I don't know about. Maybe some people can do it successfully. I don't know. I just don't believe in it.
I think we should digress a little bit further into that. What we're going to do, if you came here I'm changing the titles right now. if you came here for
Marriage Boot Camp.
Marriage Boot Camp.
Marriage Boot Camp is such a good show. You guys should check it out on VH1.
What I'll say is we'll prepare you for it. It's on VH1. Start watching it because next week we're definitely going to be reviewing it.
There's a lot of lessons on that show. A lot of lessons. It's really good.
Yeah. So Dele says, okay, we're still live. So why is this an issue? Why is this an issue?
Dele says, what's the opposite to open relationship?
Yes. Okay.
I would say a marriage.
What's the
way of marriage?
No, that's a good question. That's a good question. And let's see. Let me just see something here. That's a good question. I guess it's close to relationship. What it means is that you're not open to the idea of other people coming into the relationship.
Yes.
And engaging in a romantic way, as a relationship. So when we say relationship in terms of open relationship, we're talking romantic relationship, right? When it's closed,
it's between you and your spouse.
Like on consent.
Mm-hmm.
If you plan on ever doing anything crazy, tell me. If you do anything outside of me, that's called cheating. It's called infidelity, right?
Yeah, but most people don't ask for permission to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
No one does that. And honestly, you shouldn't ask for permission. You should always ask for forgiveness.
Yeah. I believe in the same thing too. But the thing is that when you are in an open relationship, you could do whatever. We already said, hey, anything can happen. Mm-hmm. We're open to messing with other people. Some people say, oh, there's multiple definitions, by the way. Some people will say, oh, no, it means that you still have to tell me, but I'm open to it. Like, no. No, you're not ready for open relationship if you ever say that. Okay? Like, open relationship, let's see here. Open relationship means that you guys will not hold each other hostage, right?
You're right.
And you can do whatever you want, but you can still be together. Okay? Most human brains are not set up like that. Emotionally, we're not set up that way. The idea of coming to a relationship because we really want to be
committed to something.
We want to be committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Open relationship isn't our thing back home in Africa, considering what our ladies are built up with now. It has nothing to do with women.
Yeah, come on, man.
Okay, it's 2020. We all act the same way in all different type of ways.
We sure do.
However, we all act a little bit different in different types of ways. But I agree that there's a little bit of a slight difference between how a man should show up in a relationship and how a woman should show up. But all of that has to do with the dynamic of every unique relationship. There's masculine energy, there is feminine energy, there's a way you're supposed to show up as a man.
All right.
But it still comes down to the person you're with. You need to listen to them and feel on them and see what happens. So again, let's just talk about this. Back to Will Smith and Jada Smith. I didn't think they were in an open relationship because if they were, they wouldn't be giving so much energy together out into the world as a couple. And when I say energy, I'm talking about value specifically. Like you can literally listen to 2 or 3 red table talk, unless you have pre-notion mind.
Right.
You already have made up your mind what you think about them, right? If you did that, then you may not get anything from them. But if you go there with a clean heart, you want to learn open mind. Speaking of open, right? Right? You want to go there and just listen. You will learn one thing or two about your mental health, about relationships, about what makes up a relationship, how to have healthy relationship with people. So it's hard for a couple to be together and bring that kind of energy into the world, But if you already have an idea of what you think about them, or you listen to a lot of gossip sites and stuff like that, it may be a little bit harder to believe them in that sense. You probably wouldn't even watch 1 minute. You would think they're full of it, basically. Yeah. So that's that. So what else should we talk about when it comes to these people? That's it? You're done with it?
I'm done with it.
You're done with it?
What else do you want to talk about? They've said their own truth. It's left for the world to take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
It is what